Adeleke has reiterated the enforcement of approved guidelines as a condition to enjoy the new retirement age of 65 years and length of service 40 years for teachers in the state public schools. This is contained in a circular issued by the state head of service, Mr. Leye in Oshogbo, the state capital. The circular noted that all those interested in enjoying the new increased retirement age must comply with the guidelines as stipulated in the guidelines for teachers to benefit from the scheme. He or she must be within the education cadre recognized in the scheme of service. It also stipulates that the officer must be registered with the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, be medically fit as ascertained by a qualified medical doctor, and must not be under any disciplinary action. Okay, new feeling in Osun, new conditions for teachers. Yeah, they say the reward of teachers is in heaven, but not anymore. Not anymore.
I mean, take Ogun State, for instance, where we've seen in practical sense how teachers are rewarded yearly, and it can only mean that there is need for more teachers to be at their best. The reward of teachers is not just in heaven, it starts here on earth. Yes, the heavenly reward is actually there, because you are building the society, but then we need to start looking inwards. These children will grow up to be something meaningful in the society, and you will also reap your reward as a teacher. Now look at the one Osun State just started now. I think it's a welcome development. Yeah, beautiful. And of course, talking about Ogun State too, news broke yesterday. I think close to 700 Ogun Teach interns have been handed, employment letters, full employment letters, and that also shows the commitment of the state government to the education sector. So it means those guys who have been on, who have been interns, teach interns before, are now teachers. Full-time teachers, substantive employment with the state government. Let's move on to the next one. That's on resident doctors. Do you have that? No, I think the story, we have another story in relation to education from my end, and that's on the Ministry of Education. The Ministry of Education, Professor Tahir Mamen, on Tuesday said security agencies will go after individuals with fake degree certificates in the country. According to the minister, the individuals will be tracked after the committee inaugurated to investigate the activities of degree mills in the country submits its report. The Federal Ministry of Education has earlier set up an investigative panel to probe activities of degree mills following an investigative report published by Daily Nigerian, which exposed the activity of degree mills in countries like Benin Republic, where a reporter reviewed how he obtained a degree within 6 weeks and proceeded to embark on a mandatory youth service under the National Youth Corps Service Scheme. The reporter reached out to this syndicate that specializes in selling degree certificates in December 2022 and graduated in February 2023 and was issued a Bachelor of Science in Mass Communication certificate from one of the universities in Benin Republic. The report has shown that these illegal activities perpetrated by some tertiary institution in West African countries has forced the Nigerian government to ban the accreditation and evaluation of degrees from Benin Republic and Togo. Now, I think this story has been on since last year. Yeah. And I could even remember vividly some time ago during our National Youth Service Corps scheme then, students from some of these countries, as earlier mentioned, were screened differently. When other people were going on with their camp activities, the students, they had to check them. And I think before the government arrived to this conclusion of banning certificates from this country, it has seen a lot. People have abused the privileges. Doctorates are now getting under 6 months, 2 months, 3 months, and you can only wonder, what's the fast route all about? Well, I think it's about our placement of priority on certificates in the country. Yes, the craze for certificates. It is. Especially university degrees, and I think that's the real, that's the reason why we have these urge, for the craze for university degree certificates, to the extent that people go, any length, everywhere, to get the certificates, and that is what has also led to this, people getting fake certificates, because they want to be counted among. It's sad, that it has gotten us to this level in this country. Whereas in some advanced countries of the world, they celebrate
degrees.
They celebrate skills.
Yes, output.
Skills. Your aptitude, not certificate this time around. Yes, certificate is good. Why not? But then it should not really be, superior to what you can actually do.
I totally agree with you. We should, as a country, start looking out for what people can do, because we have a lot of doctors out there right now. We have a lot of master's degree holders who cannot even defend this certificate. And because our priority as a country most time focus on this certificate you have to present, a lot of people are now obsessed with the certificate and not after getting the actual knowledge, which on the long run benefits the country at large.
I mean, we're not looking at the entire picture. Anyway, that's about that. The Association of Resident Doctors at the University of Medical Sciences Teaching Hospital in Ondo State has commenced a 14-day warning strike over the non-payment of 7 months' salaries to their new members. Members of the association who staged the protest on the premises of the facility on Tuesday vowed to ground the activities at the government-owned medical facility if their demands are not met. Presidents of UNIMED, Dr. John Matthew, who spoke with journalists during the protest, lamented that their members were yet to be paid their entitlements. According to him, other reasons for the warning strike include the non-provision of palliatives to house officers since February, the non-payment of February hazard allowance despite promise by the state government to pay 2 months, and the death of staff due to resignation of doctors from the institution. Another one, resident doctors in Ondo State commencing 14-day warning strike. Now, if they go on strike, you know the implications of that. When doctors go on strike, patients in hospitals will suffer for it. And it's also about us not really getting our priorities right in this country. The medical profession is key, just like any other profession is key. But then it also has to be given the required attention, as and when due. When it doesn't get that attention is when we have situations like this, when doctors begin to threaten to go on strike.
I think this doctors threatening to go on strike is not really new to the country. I mean, we've experienced that. It's almost like becoming a monthly something now, because the month doesn't really go by without hearing doctors say something about their payment. And I think this is, it's also a wake-up call to those who can make decisions to ensure that these people have their adequate payments made, because you cannot, just like Biodun said, you cannot overemphasize the importance of these people in the society. And right now we are faced with the issue of brain drain constantly on the increase in Nigeria. So when we do not fix these things, we have the opportunity of losing potentials to countries who can actually afford these people. And let's not be sentimental to some extent. These people also have needs. They have families. They pay bills. And they spend majority of their time at work. So if...
Like we do here too.
I know.
Okay. Which one do you have there? Before we move on to Senegal, I think we should talk about Senegal.
Senegal is actually very interesting. Please take us
You have the story?
No.
Okay, I have the story. The story about Senegal today now is the story of the swearing in of the new president of the country, 44-year-old Bassirou Faye, who was sworn in Dakar on Tuesday, and he urged more solidarity among African countries in the face of security challenges after being sworn in as the country's youngest head of state. President Tinubu, who is the chairman of ECOWAS, joined other regional leaders to witness the inauguration. At the African level, the scale of security challenges obliges us to show more solidarity, according to Faye, in front of hundreds of officials
and several African heads of state at an exhibition center in Diamniadio near the capital, Dakar. 44-year-old Bashir Faye. But he has 2 wives.
I saw the story, very controversial, but I think this is not the first time it's happening in Africa where we have a very young president. I mean, we had one last year or 2 years back, and then we have Senegal joining the queue, joining the lines.
We've had younger heads of state in Africa in the years past, especially military heads. So even here in Nigeria, we had one at the time that was just 38, you know, and in some other countries too, we had, but in Africa of today, to have a 44-year-old as president, democratically elected president, it calls for celebration.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, we saw the news making rounds a few days ago, and one of the controversial things about that particular celebration was the fact that this president has 2 wives, and the questions were all over. Who is going to occupy the seat of the first lady of the country? Now, some people said they could just build 2 offices for those people, because if, for instance, I was to be the second wife of the president, I wouldn't agree. I would agree to be, you know, to be left out of the equation. But when men make this decision, did they look into this? Did they think about these things, Biodun? I want you to speak from the men's perspective.
This is Africa. And polygamy is permitted.
So you want to bring the African nature into this. This is politics. Now your African nature is coming into the
maybe Bashir never thought he would be president before he married 2 wives. Now he has married 2 wives. You know.
So you want the country to bend?
Does he have to? No, I'm not saying. I'm not. My concern is not about who becomes the first lady in the country. You know, but it's about the fact that the life of Bashir himself, whether we like it or not, he has 2 wives.
Okay, so I like the fact that you're talking about the life of the president-elect. You know, it's actually a thing of concern.
Maybe what's on your mind is how would a 44-year-old man have 2 wives?
And a president at that matter in an
I'm talking about
country.
his life before he became a president.
No,
before he became president.
He was an average person, you know, an average man. Probably is rich.
You can never tell.
You know, as a rich person, you can actually control women when you have, you know, they say that thing that it's when you have the money you can control women. But right now, it's not just about the money. You have the power as well. So it's a lot. And he's a young person. So he's going to need a lot of wisdom. Miriam,
tell me, if you met somebody is married and is powerful and close to the corridors of power, and he proposes to you that she become his second wife, would you grab it or not?
I made that clear from the beginning of this conversation that if I was the second wife, I wouldn't agree to the fact
if you were the second wife, that presupposes that you had actually agreed to be second wife. You know, so, but this is Africa.
Things happen, Biodun. Things happen.
Anyway, but there is something that is that we can change, and it is the fact that Faye has 2 wives, and this is Africa. And I don't think we should make any noise about that. I think the fact that we could have a 44-year-old man
become president
as president of a big country like Senegal should be more important than him having 2 wives. And I think that's his private life. You know, what makes you feel that he will not even, you know, promote the office of the first lady? It could be. From the way he's been talking tough, and he's been talking like a revolutionary, you know. So we can never tell. Don't let's preempt.
I don't know.
The female gender, I know this has gone viral everywhere. You know, why does he have to have 2 wives and all that? You know, and you know, you find it, you know, unbelievable that this is also coming from some women that are second wives and third wives in their homes. So that's the point.
I'm not going to really dig deep into that. I just believe they will work their ways around it. And maybe this is just like a call to women to work together.
It's still done. It's still done for Senegal. It's still done for Africa. And you know, let's see how this also happens. You know, if this could also happen in some African countries, you know, we will be. You know, we will also be happy to have young men,
in governance.
Yeah, we'll definitely celebrate young men, young women who can also come into politics to rise to that level of power. But I just want to say that let's just put our priorities straight. You know, becoming a president is not an easy thing, and having things like this come up or surface could also be an issue in the long run. Well, I'll take you through the next story which we have this morning is the $20 billion worth Dangote Petroleum Refinery has commenced the sales of automotive gas oil, popularly called diesel, to all marketers nationwide. Dealers and officials of the plant confirmed this on Tuesday as it was gathered that the refinery commenced diesel sales last week. The refinery started pumping out diesel to marketers since last week and also promised to sell aviation fuel soon. Some of the members confirmed this after making purchase. The national president, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Abubakar Megandi, said he is moved by Dangote, he said that the move by Dangote, I beg your pardon, would lead to crash in diesel price as the commodity rise to a high value of about 1,700 naira per litre recently. The price of diesel is going to fall because of the release of products from Dangote refinery. In fact, it has already started coming down in Lagos. The statement is by Magandi. A senior management officer of the firm also confirmed the sale of diesel to marketers, as the source noted that the premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, would also be released to the market very soon.
Okay, well, that's about that. Dangote refinery begins sale of diesel. Well, it's good. So many industries are feeling the heat of high price of diesel. You know, not just you know, for us here, we're also feeling it in the media organizations.
Yes.
So many stations now close earlier than expected. So many radio stations close as early as 8 o'clock, 8 p.m., 9 p.m. You know, due to this, and some other companies too that are into manufacturing production. Yes. It actually tells you about the power of energy in the economy.
I hate to say this, but aside the organizations, which are of course just like you mentioned, even in churches, my church had to, you know, power the small gen because the big gen was consuming much of the diesel, and we were sweating in the service, you know, and it's just a thing of concern. It touches every sphere. Churches, mosques.
Well, you don't have to feel the pain. You went to meet Jesus. You went to meet Jesus.
Trust me, Jesus is a man of comfort. He wouldn't want you to be sweating.
Let's go to the papers, Miriam.
Yeah.
We have 4 of them on our desk this morning, and we're starting. We have Tribune. There is The Nation, and of course Vanguard and Punch. Okay, let's start with Vanguard. All right, Vanguard on its front page says, ambush as 30 children, others get kidnapped in Katsina, Zamfara Delta. Of course, that story has plenty riders. So go get a copy of the paper for details. Ambush as 30 children, others get kidnapped in Katsina, Zamfara Delta. And below that story is the picture of the young president in Senegal.
Young, handsome.
You said?
Young and handsome president.
Okay. I've not noticed he's a handsome president.
I have, if you haven't.
Are you ready to become third wife?
Oh, please.
Okay, the picture of a fire there in handshake with Nigeria's president and chairman of ECOWAS, President Bola Tinubu. Okay, above the masthead of the paper, Okwama, police, not army, should probe and try suspects. That's coming from SANS and retired judges. Dangote, Adenuga, Rabiu, Otedola make Forbes 2024 billionaires list. We must decentralize Nigeria now. That's coming from Nwanchukwu Peter side. Why I fell out with Odile. That's coming from Wike. Also on the front page of Vanguard. And we look at the back page of the paper for some sports stories. Super Falcons camp in joyous mood as more players hit camp. Yes, the match is on Friday. It's against perennial rivals Banyana of South Africa. And the camp is full. I think we have 13 players, more than that actually. But From what we have here, 13 players are in camp.